We are going to Dinosaur National Monument, but right now we're on Highway 40, just a little south of Granby. And we're going to get onto Cottonwood Pass over to Hot Sulphur Springs. So this is the first of 7 roads that make up the core of this route. The first being Cottonwood Pass, then Stagecoach Reservoir Road, the Flat Top Scenic Byway with a side trip to Trappers Lake. Then out of Meeker, we're going to go across Sheepdog Drive and onto the real crux of this trip, Yampa Bench Road. From there, we head back over to Meeker, where we explore West Rifle Creek. So this is Cottonwood Pass. There is a famous Cottonwood Pass in Colorado. That is not this road. It's beautiful though. There's some nice cabin ruins on the right coming up here. And the whole thing is full of cottonwood trees, aspens, pines. It's beautiful. At the base of the hills up ahead, you can see a dark line. That's actually the small town of Hot Sulphur Springs. That's where we're going. So now we're back at Highway 40, and we're going to take this over to 134, which will bring us to our next road, Stagecoach Reservoir. This is Stagecoach Reservoir Road. I learned about this road and the last one, Cottonwood Pass, from dual sport motorcycle forums. Motorcycle guys know stuff. They know all the beautiful roads. Anytime you're on a road and you see motorcycles, you've probably made a good choice. In fact, there's a guy coming around the curve up ahead here. There he is. I'm not sure why we did this. I pulled over, my wife jumped out and took a picture of cows standing at the Route National Forest information board. It seemed important at the time. And we're starting to see more residences now. There's one up on the hill on the left, another one tucked into the hill on the right, which means we're getting close to the reservoir. You can see it off to the right there. It's developed, there's paved roads around it. It's not really what we're looking for, so we're going to turn left here and head over to Phippsburg. Phippsburg is a great little town, and if you continue down 131, you can get to Yampa. If for whatever reason you forgot to bring meat, Yampa has you covered. Town Hall has meat, Antlers definitely has meat, and Montgomery's makes their own sausage. But anyway, we are up at Phippsburg, and we're going to head a little south on 131 to County Road 15 and take that out to the Flat Top Scenic Byway. Had we gone to Yampa, this is around where we'd meet up. Flat Top Scenic Byway is both a Colorado Scenic Byway and a Colorado birding trail, meaning it's both incredibly scenic and a great place for bird watching. It's graded and graveled in many places, but there was a 2 mile or so stretch of washboards that were exceptionally rough. Aside from that, just a really cool road. We're taking a side trip to Trappers Lake. It's about a 16-mile detour. I was caught off guard by the amount of dead trees in the area. Colorado has been in a drought for the last 20 years or so, and many of the forests have become infested with pine beetles. The tree's natural defense against the beetles is sap, but without water they can't produce enough, so the beetle population has exploded, and they are killing the trees. There's been some fire in the area too, but for the most part the trees have just died and fallen down. Lake of the Woods is more of a pond in the sun now, but look at the area surrounding the water. It's growing back. The rest of the drive to Trappers Lake was solemn, but not without hope. There's a lot of new growth, and hopefully it will all recover and regrow. The lake was looking a little rough, so we headed back up the road to this beautiful pullout where we unpacked 107 pounds of canine perfection, my dog Pickles. He's 13 here and still out having fun, still having adventures. It is not over till it's over. Just after 49 miles, the road becomes paved again. Colorado did a lot of unnecessary paving during the pandemic, and I think this road may have been a victim of that. It doesn't exactly ruin the road, but it does change the experience. If you turn left here, you'll be on Newcastle Buford Road, which ends where this whole route ends. It's another great road, lots of camping and hiking along the way. It gets really pretty towards the end. We're going past a lot of water, so there are a lot of bugs, like the ones that are on my camera now. There's only about a mile or so left on this road, so I'm not going to do anything about them. We grabbed some food in Meeker and headed out on County Road 15 to the Yellow Jacket Pass area, where we spent the night. The next morning we went back to Meeker, got geared up and headed out on 7 to County Road 23 and Highway 40. Our drive was fast and fun. We got to 23 in no time. Look at all the pronghorns on the road. .23 is a ranching road, and as such it's pretty well maintained. It's peaceful, it's mellow, and there's really not too much going on it except the pronghorns we saw at the front, so I said let's call it Pronghorn Drive. My wife saw this guy and said let's call it Sheepdog Drive, and the dog raised his head up and he barked. I said okay, he agrees with you. He was not agreeing. He is the lookout. As soon as he barked, I saw movement, and these big dogs came flying over the fence like it wasn't even there. I put my camera out the window, turned back to my wife and said, "Did you see those dogs?" She says, "Oh my God, they're right behind us," and she hits the gas. Look at our speed in the lower left-hand corner. We go from 15 to 25 in a hurry, but we couldn't shake them, and really couldn't go any faster without losing control of the vehicle out there. They easily followed us for about a mile until they just got bored and dropped off. It was both awesome and scary. This is the town of Elk Springs. These are the suburbs of Elk Springs. Now we're in the desert. County Road 14 is beautiful and pretty much like this for its entirety. The most notable thing out here is the smell of the air in the morning. It's cold, it's clean, it's full of junipers and sage. It's really hard to describe how wonderful the desert smells in the morning. Mantle Ranch Road is similar to 14 with more dips and twists and turns. The scenery starts to change too. And finally we reach Dinosaur. This is what we came for. It's pretty exciting to see the sign. There's a kiosk too with information on the area, and it would make a decent emergency shelter. The term ghost forest refers to a forest that has died but remained standing, and we are entering one. In 2009, the melon fire swept through this area and created this unique, tragic landscape. We're also approaching the switchbacks that will take us down to the valley below. There are switchbacks at both ends of Yampa Bench Road, neither set as difficult. I've never seen a ghost forest like this before. It's both surreal and amazing. As we go into it, it transitions to what it was before the fire stripped the area, and you can really get a feel for what it once was. It's pretty cool. You can also see our destination in the distance. It's the farthest point. We have some driving to do. The road along here is so much fun. It twists and turns over hills and around edges and is enough to keep your attention, but never so difficult that you can't appreciate all the incredible scenery. There are some marked points of interest along the road, and we make our first stop at Wagon Wheel Point. It has been absolutely amazing driving through the desert to get to here, and now the trip gets really interesting. We're heading into Echo Park. The Chew Ranch was established around 1900 by Jack Chew. His son, Rial, sold it to the Park Service in 1966. This cabin was moved to the area by Rial Chew's uncle. You can see there are no trees around to cut for a cabin. It was probably easier to take it apart wherever it was and move it here rather than find new logs and start over. The roof is made from strips of local juniper bark, though, and clay mud. These are some wonderful Anasazi petroglyphs. The Whispering Cave makes a sound like a quiet wind, and it's about 30 degrees cooler than the surrounding area. There were birds inside too. High up in the cracks, they probably have nests. It's probably safe for them there. When we got to Echo Park, the whole thing was closed due to COVID. There were chains across the roads leading to the camping and the river. We turned back and headed out to the switchbacks leading up to Harpers Corner Road. The switchbacks on this end were no more difficult than the ones on the east, but the views were so incredible we had to stop. That's what we just drove. The Echo Park overlook was truly amazing. We could see all the way back over everything we had done. I still don't understand what happened next. The road looked like it was split in two. Two birds circled overhead. Two shorn sheep with two lambs stood by the road. We saw a sign for Dinosaur. At the end of the road, we saw another. There are two rifles on the creek. The sign read OHV, begin. Two men with an OHV appeared. One gave us a sign, begin. Nothing really changed, but at 5.7 miles the pavement ended and the road turned awesome. If you turn left here, it takes you to Hay Flat. That's a great OHV area, but it's a little much for us while we're alone. From this point on, I was amazed by this road. I actually enjoyed this even more than the Flat Tops area. Eventually the pavement resumes and we come to Rifle Gap Reservoir. Look at that, FJ62 33's ARB bumper rooftop tent. Wow, one of us. This is Rifle Falls State Park, which features the beautiful Rifle Falls. The park was really busy, so we headed north a bit to a spot only locals know. This is a fish hatchery, but it has a gorgeous picnic area. Let's keep that between us. From here we're taking Grass Valley Road past Harvey Gap to Newcastle, where our trip ends.